Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, speaker. I would like to welcome everyone to the Ignatian Lecture Series 6.0. And this is the first topic, Scientific Temper and Reasoning. I would like to welcome Abhishek to talk about the NSA Association.
Thank you, Priyambada. Hello, everyone. I'm Abhishek Mishra, President of Natural Science Association. On behalf of Natural Science Association, Department of Zoology, School of Life Sciences, St. Joseph's University, I welcome you all for the Ignatian Lecture Series 6.0. Natural Science Association is one of the largest and the most active association of St. Joseph's University. It is the biggest association in terms of involving science students. It's the only association holding the four different forums which are active in the different fields of birding, herping, mammal watch, and the marine biology. Natural Science Association is also very actively organizing webinars of the national and the international level, because of which learning the scientific temper and reasoning becomes very important for all of the students. And with that, we are very glad that Dr. H.S. Niranjan joined us today to enlighten our knowledge regarding the same topic. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Now I welcome Dr. Jayasankar, sir, to introduce the topic.
Thank you, Abhishek. First of all, we are thankful to Dr. H.S. Niranjan Aradhya, sir, for having accepted our invitation to address our students on the topic scientific temper and reasoning. This is part of the Ignatian lecture series, sixth in a row, conducted on different themes. In the past, we have conducted on themes relating to science and society, climate change, pollinators, and other topics. This year, we chose that it should be on scientific temper and reasoning. Only 2 days back, we celebrated our 74th Republic Day, adopting the Constitution for the Republic of India. The Article 51A in the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution in 1976 says, "It shall be the duty of every citizen of India to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform." Scientific temper is very much essential, more for the young minds, you who are attending the webinar as participants. Science must be based on inquiry and reasoning, an essential requirement for young minds aspiring to have a free mind. It is very much essential that scientific temper and reasoning for the overall development and growth of the country and society. It is necessary to develop scientific temper among all the people, irrespective of their age, caste, creed, religion, etc. With this background, we thought whom to contact, and it was Dr. H.S. Niranjan Aradhya. We have heard Sir his talks online. I've known Sir personally, and Sir is an zoologist by profession, was also former principal of the Sri Siddhaganga College of Arts, Science and Commerce. I've had the privilege to tell that I was the last research student of the Aqua Lab, where Sir also pursued and completed his doctoral work. Very gentle and good person, easy to reach, and that's what made us to reach to Dr. H.S. Niranjan Aradhya. Sir, I also take this opportunity to convey regards from your close friend, Dr. George Alexander, the former HOD, Department of Zoology, St. Joseph's University. With that, I hand it over to Suraj to introduce our speaker for the day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jayshankar sir. Dr. H.S. Niranjan Aradhya sir has worked as former principal at Sri Siddhaganga College of Arts, Science and Commerce. He was also a former president at Karnataka Raja Vignana Parishad in Bangalore. He has also published various articles and papers for magazines and periodicals based on science. He has written more than 20 books in both Kannada and English based on science, and he has also known publishers like Navakarnataka Publications, Sapna Publications, and he has also written textbook on environmental studies for degree students, both in Kannada and English. He has even served as editorial member of the monthly science magazines named Bala Vijnana and Teacher. He has also popularized science and also served as executive committee member at KRVP for 6 years. He's also served as honorary secretary at Karnataka Raja Vijnana Parishad for 9 years and as president for 6 years, and also was nominated as first honorary secretary of KRVP Zilla Parishad Committee, Tumkur. He was also founder member of Tumkur Science Center. His main aim and effort was to popularize science in Karnataka, both, and he has also worked as and was also nominated as the state honorary secretary at Bharat Jnana Vigyan Janta in the year 1985. So, sir, now I'd like you to deliver the
talk for today. We are happy that sir has accepted our invitation. Sir, over to you for the presentation.
Okay.
Yes, sir. This is the slide with the Ganesha shown here.
Yeah. Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Please,
please.
sir.
Yes, I was telling about this 1995 miracle of Lord Ganesha. Their news became so wildfire like that. The then Home Minister L.K. Advani stated that Lord Ganesha has become very angry in the entire India. Then one more jailer, a Baba, who was jailed for some crime. He also said, just because I have been jailed by the government, the Lord Ganesha has become very angry. Okay, the people started experimenting that throughout the world, including California, Chicago, etc. There also, their Ganesha started drinking milk. Okay, it became such a big news throughout the world. And for curiosity, one cobbler in Mumbai started offering the milk for his instrument, which he used to repair the shoes. To his wonder, that tool also started drinking milk. Okay, so therefore, then only people realized that the surface tension is the main reason for disappearance of the milk when the milk is touched to the proboscis of the Lord Ganesha. See, this is how the blind beliefs will spread, especially when media coverage is given at a very high level. And also, if there is the acceptance by the leaders, all others will just follow blindly. So therefore, we must be very careful. Let us remember one event that happened during COVID time. See, some Baba or Swamiji told that if we can smear the cow dung slurry, we can prevent the COVID occurrence. So because of the advice from the Baba, here one father, the second guru of his son, he smeared the cow dung slurry, and obediently his son carefully smeared the cow dung slurry throughout his body, thinking that he will not get the COVID. See, this kind of blind beliefs are spoiling the entire Indian population. See, similarly, at the very beginning of the COVID pandemic here in India, there was a big congregation of the people to have a holy dip in the river Ganga in Haridwar. And in fact, government encouraged indirectly lakhs and lakhs of people took a holy dip and also got the COVID. That's how actually COVID became a big issue. When COVID pandemic actually started, I hope all of you will remember, there was a call from higher authorities in the government to bang the plates, bell, etc. At a particular time in the evening, thinking that waves will be created to kill the coronavirus, and all throughout the people, almost both educated, uneducated, started dancing in the street, beating the bell, etc. But nothing happened except the spread of the corona. Well, friends, with that brief introduction of the blind belief, let us come to the scientific temper. See, this scientific, especially in the last 2 years, we have learned the importance of the vaccines in preventing the COVID. Well, friends, scientific temper and science will help in improving our lifestyle and standard of life. We can see
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Any possibility if we can move the slide? That will also
yeah.
be some visual information for the students. Yeah.
Yeah, I have moved the slide. Is it visible now?
No, sir. We are still stuck with the Ganesh idol slide. That's where.
My God, what is this? I'm actually moving the slides.
Okay, okay. But here probably you have to share the PowerPoint, sir. Only then the moving happens. So the slide also once it's on your desktop, the PowerPoint presentation, when you share and click on this option of the PowerPoint, then the PowerPoint start sharing. Uh, though it is not in full screen, even then this is not moving.
Are the slides moving
Yes, sir.
now?
Yeah, it moved to the 1995.
Okay.
Miracle slide.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's moving now. It's now with the people follow the leader
Yeah.
blindly. That slide.
This was what I was telling. The incident of having holy dip and how actually the COVID spread throughout India, right?
Yes, sir. That's the Haridwar slide. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I also told about banging sound, blowing conch to prevent corona and to push the corona out of country, and nothing happened except the spreading of corona, right? Okay, then I was telling that we are living in the age of science, especially information technology, biotechnology, etc. And especially the vaccines are playing a major role in protecting us from such pandemics. And science is an integral part of life. Our thinking, our attitudes, our interests, and our outlooks have all undergone tremendous changes. Probably during this COVID time, people have used the internet facility, especially the laptop, mobile, etc. We can see the kind of change that have undergone in the youngsters more so. Well, friends, this scientific temper or the attitude is one of the important outcomes of science. So there is a popular saying by Carl Sagan, the most popular American astronomer. He says, science is a way of thinking much more than it is a body of knowledge. See, we have been learning the knowledge in our regular pre-university course, degree course, and postgraduate, including research. But it is the way of thinking and way of life that's most important. And that's why we'll try to understand the meaning of scientific temper. It is an open-minded temper. It is an attitude where we keep our mind open to all important information. A temper ever ready to welcome new light, new information, new knowledge, new experiments, even when the results are unfavorable, even if you don't feel like enjoying that particular information, we should have that open mind. We should not have preconceived opinions and long cherished theories. That's what we have seen in the history of science. Well, the very word scientific temper was coined by Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India, for 17 long years. And he was also a prolific writer. In the Discovery of India, he has written that scientific temper is a way of life. I repeat, it's a way of life at the individual level and also the social process of thinking, acting which uses a scientific method which may include questioning, observing reality, testing, hypothesizing, analyzing, and communicating. As students of science, I hope all of you remember these are the steps how actually the science evolved over centuries, and today we have continuously growing science. Well, friends, as mentioned by Dr. Jaishankar, it has been mentioned in our constitution, Indian constitution, and it is the duty of every citizen of India to abide by the constitution and respect its ideals and institutions. Here in the Article 51AH, there is one fundamental duty. I repeat, it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to develop scientific temper. It is the duty of every citizen of India to develop scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. And that is the topic for today. And I especially congratulate each one of you for having participating in this particular session and also for having selected this particular topic. Well, friends, let's understand what are the important features or attributes of scientific temper, which almost go along with the methods of scientific attitude or method of doing research. The first important point here, the belief based on evidence. See, every belief must be based on evidence. Evidence at the individual level. Evidence at the individual level. Evidence at the science. Say, for example, let me tell. See, when Charles Darwin put forward the theory of evolution, he took the evidence of Darwinian finches, the evidence of the fossils, right? So in the science, we believe on evidence. And similarly, in our day-to-day life, if something happens, we should try to find out the evidence. Unless there is evidence, we should not believe. For example, you might remember that one particular Baba here in India came with a medicine called Coronil. And he gave the statement that research wing of his particular group has come out with a Coronil which prevents and also cures the COVID disease. But there was no evidence, and finally it was rejected. The second most important point is one must be curious. Curiosity is the mother of invention. That's what we say. And curious to understand how actually every event will happen in our day-to-day life. See, if at all, if there is something, some new information, we should always, instead of accepting as such, we should doubt, we should verify. Say, for example, I was mentioning drinking urine will prevent many diseases. Probably some students can remember there was one Morarji Desai was a Prime Minister of India, and he used to drink his own urine. And he also was mentioning in many meetings that he is healthy because he drinks his urine. So during that time, it became so popular and many people started drinking their urine. And finally, after a few years, we came to know that drinking urine will not help in any way in improving the health or preventing the diseases. It also enhances the possibility of getting diseases. Well, friends, the third most important attribute of scientific temper is the patience. One should have patience and persistence. Let me just quote the example of S. Chandrasekhar, Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, and the Nobel laureate. See, when he proposed the concept of black hole, his theory was completely rejected. However, with patience, he continued his activity and research in the field of astronomy. Nearly after 25 to 30 years, the concept of black hole was accepted, and he was given the due recognition. Similarly, persistence, continuous attempt is needed. From the point of society, let me give the example of Amitabh Bachchan. Probably you might be knowing that Amitabh Bachchan at one point he started one corporation called Amitabh Bachchan Corporation ABC to encourage some youngsters to become actors and started training. However, that was a big failure. All the money that he had collected and saved became zero. He was almost in the streets. However, he had the patience. He started thinking, and at that point, he got a chance to anchor the what we call as one what is that Amitabh Bachchan was there, Karodpati. Kaun banega Karodpati. See, because of that, he was not only able to clear the arrears, but also became once again a great hero in the film field. So one should have that patience. As students, probably if you think that you want to get into a particular research field or to become an entrepreneur, you cannot expect the success within a short time. You should have the patience. And at the same time, just because you will meet to some failure, you should not leave that. You should have that patience and find out the reason for the failure and continue. Persistence should be there. Then only you will succeed in life. And that is the importance of this scientific temper. Well, friends, the another important attribute is willing to explore. One, we should always explore. If you are a Bangalorean, you should move out, find out what kind of exposure is there, kind of entrepreneurship is there, what kind of business openings are there by visiting Mumbai, the cultural, the business capital of India. Similarly, you should also explore in the digital world, what kind of options are there, what kind of new business will come, what kind of new branches of science will come. So the willingness to explore is most important for a student who has to imbibe scientific temper. Similarly, we must be open to postulates. See, any kind of theory we should accept, but at the same time try to verify. Depending upon the evidence that we have got, we should come out with a theory. Say, for example, you are, as students of natural science, you might be knowing that Charles Darwin, although he studied theology, logic, philosophy, etc., he went around the world. He explored throughout the world for 5 long years. He came with evidences in support of evolution, especially when he observed the Darwinian finches. And he came up with a theory, right? However, he took almost 22 years of patience and perseverance, persistence to come out with the theory of natural selection. Well, the most other important point is with regard to the questioning. It's only when we put a question, the actual development of science starts. Okay, so one should always have the habit of questioning any kind of new belief, new concept, or introduction of any material in our day-to-day world. Then one more point is observing reality. See, we should always look for the pragmatic aspect. We should find out whether there is truth in it or not by observing, by careful observation and verification. And another point is reasoning, which is one more important aspect of today's presentation that I will discuss later. Then we should test it. Say, for example, there was a concept of the origin of life by the JBS Haldane, right, and Oparin. However, it was put into practice. It's only the two scientists who made up testing. They came with the experiment and observed finally, yes, by testing, there is a formation of the amino acids, right? And finally, that was validated. So similarly, hypothesizing. As students, we know how to hypothesize, especially as we are the students of history of science. Similarly, for any aspect, we analyze. And most important is communication. Whatever we learn because of these attributes, we have to communicate to our fellow members, to the society at large. So that's most important if you want to become a person with scientific temper. Let me introduce some stalwarts who have been fighting throughout their life for spreading scientific temper. I hope all of you know Isaac Asimov, Carl Sagan, and Richard Dawkins, and P.M. Bhargava. All throughout their life continuously by writing good number of books, by having tele interviews, writing novels, having a group discussion, attending conferences, they have been trying continuously to spread scientific temper, which is a way of life. I hope all of you at least remember the former Vice Chancellor of Bangalore University, Dr. H. Narasimhaya. He used to keep the symbol of a question mark in his office. He never used to accept anything unless he used to ask question and find evidence. I hope all of you will remember. Then the Sai Baba used to give the ash, watches, gold chains, etc. from air by sway of his hand. He used to produce and give for his followers. At that time, actually, Narasimha came with a proposal. Instead of the chain or ash, let me please give one ash god. Boodu Kumbulakai, that's a word that we use in Kannada. So just because it is large in size, he could not accept and finally gave this. See, as a student of physics, I used to say, I know as a student of science, energy and matter are exchangeable, but nothing can come out of vacuum. So that was the prime belief, as he was a man of scientific temper. Apart from that, let me also introduce these persons who have fought for spreading scientific temper. Abraham Cover. Abraham Cover, basically from Sri Lanka, he was a psychologist, and he came out with the scientific temper, attended several functions, traveled throughout India also, and throughout his life, he spent his entire life in spreading scientific temper. It's a type of reasoning in which we show the linkage between two events. Okay, if there is crime, the person who has committed crime must have some reason or motive. We should try to find out the motive. So that's how we will try to find out the relationship between the cause and effect. Then another most important feature of reasoning is critical reasoning. This critical thinking is the most important, especially in this 21st century. It involves extensive rational thought about a specific object. Say, for example, people say that we should encourage robots. We should encourage the project to go to Mars and to have the colony there. And we should think rationally how actually it can be practical, to what extent it is good to go to the Mars or to keep our planet Earth itself in the best possible position so that we can continue to exist for a long time. And this critical thinking actually is helpful in computing, engineering, social sciences, and logic. It plays a very vital role in problem solving. There is one more kind of reasoning, what we call as decompositional reasoning, the process of breaking things into constituent parts to understand the function of each component and how it contributes to the operation of the item as a whole. As students of biology, it is easy to understand the decompositional reasoning. Say, for example, in the digestive system, each part of the digestive system, if we can study continuously in depth, we know that every part of the digestive system will carry out a particular function. But when we connect to the function that is carried out by all the parts of the alimentary canal, then we can understand the role of digestion, right, and absorption. So this kind of methodology we can apply at our personal life and also for this at the society, especially to understand the truth. Now I'll just try to share with you certain kind of blind beliefs which are very rampant here in India, more so in Karnataka. Whenever you have gone to some shop or mall, you would have seen this particular symbol of the mirchi and also the lemon. I don't know to what extent they will help in improving the business of that particular shop or in preventing any theft or decreasing the very sales of that particular shop. However, it has become so universal throughout Karnataka. Every day they will be wasting so many mirchis and also the lemon, right? Similarly, just offering lemons or coconut and hitting the coconut in front of the temple. Recently, because the elections are coming very fast, you can see how actually the food is being wasted. Well, friend, that's why we say that these are blind beliefs. The blind beliefs are many. Here is one interesting example. Just because this beautiful girl didn't get a correct bridegroom, they married her to a dog. See, so beautiful girl, but yet they have not made the correct attempt to find out the proper proposal, proper bridegroom. Finally, somebody advised them to arrange for a marriage with a dog, and this has become very popular in North India. Okay, so we should logically think, we should apply the scientific temper to what extent this will help in getting her the proper proposal. Well, friends, this is also one of the blind belief that is very rampant here in South Canara district, the Udupi, Mangalore, etc. There, we call it in Kannada as Madesnana, wherein, see, one particular sect of people will have their food on the plantain leaf, and on the leftover food, the people will just roll over on the leftover food. See, this actually affects the very dignity of the human being. There is a belief that if they roll over that leftover food, no disease will come and they will be healthy and they will become prosperous. This is the kind of blind belief which actually degrades the very human value. Such rituals are there also wherein they will kill their own children, or even they offer the sacrifice of the animals, hoping that they will become rich. A few months back, there was one report that actually the husband and wife offered their own child, killed their own child, hoping that they become very rich. So such kind of blind beliefs are too much here throughout India. This is a kind of blind belief that was actually went on here in Bangalore a few years back, wherein the fathers used to keep their hand and influence on the common people who thought that they were exorcised. Their body was having the spirit of either the god or some people who have died. So similarly, you could see here throughout Karnataka, not only in Karnataka but also in the entire India. Mostly this so-called God or the spirit of other human beings will come on the ladies. Here you can see actually one tantric fellow is trying to control that girl who has become manic. Okay, so this kind of blind belief that the spirit is there in the body of that particular girl, and one has to beat her and punish her and then say that the spirit has gone out of her body. So this kind of blind belief is there. Well, this is also another blind belief which is very common, more so in Andhra Pradesh, wherein on a particular day, that too at a particular hour, they will put the fish into the body, into the alimentary canal, thinking that it will cure the bronchitis, the asthma. Lakhs of people will go and swarm there, and actually some tantric or Swamiji will put the fishes. Any content of the fish, live fish, I don't think there is any evidence. It's just a blind belief. But still, people in car and vehicle go and personally practice this. Apart from that, you might be knowing that there is a Bonamati incident in southern India and some part of the North India also. This is a kind of tantric practice wherein suddenly from nowhere the stones will drop on the building, or lemons will drop on the building, sticks will drop on the building, and that kind of event will continuously take place, and some tantric people will come and dig out the soil in front of that building, and then they show that there is a doll, and on the doll there is a piercing of some nails. So therefore there is that Bonamati incident. Actually, some time back there was a huge hue and cry of Bonamati in Bidar and Gulbarga. Then a committee to investigate Bonamati was formed under the leadership of Dr. C.R. Chandrasekhar, a psychologist who was a professor in National Institute of Health Sciences. Then they came out with the explanation. It is because of the malnutrition, right? And the enmity between the neighbors was the main reason for this Bonamati incident. Let me come to most important point. You see, there is a contradiction between the religion and the scientific temper. Let me explain. You see how actually there is a major difference with regard to the scientific temper and the kind of belief system that is present in the religion. See, evidence is a must in scientific temper. Skepticism is the order, but belief is very strong in case of religion. One must believe in God. One must believe in the manuscript that is there in that particular religion. Similarly, in the religion, miracles are very common. See, whether it is Christ, whether it is Baba, whether it is Shiva, whatever it may be, miracles are common. But in science, they will try to bust the miracles, find out and explain the science behind them. Similarly, there is a belief in rebirth in almost all religions, but there is no evidence as per science. See, during COVID, actually, one temple was formed in the name of Covidamma. In Bangalore itself, there is one temple in the name of diseases, many diseases. Like, okay, so much of blind belief is there in the common man. See, it was also said that when the COVID was there, people went on kissing the cross. Those who were having the COVID also kissed it, and even others also kissed it. That helped in spreading the COVID rather than curing the disease. Similarly, the difference between the religion and science is that strong belief in rebirth. But as far as science is concerned, there is no evidence for the rebirth. See, in religion, there will be religious scripts which are considered to be 100% correct, and no need for correction, whether it is Bible or Bhagavad Gita, like that. But in science, we publish the science articles based on principles and the research. And every time these content that are present in the articles are challenged sometimes, then there will be modification. That's how correction will continue throughout in science. Similarly, in religion, there will be godmen who will have supernatural powers and they can cure any kind of diseases. So let me give an example. Sometime back, there was one godman coming from USA. He used to do a surgery with his fingers. Used to remove certain tumors from the body. In fact, he was given such a huge reception and was brought to Vidhan Sauda, and he conducted some surgery using his fingers. And not even a single piercing mark was there on the body, but he showed certain tumors. Actually, as per science, nobody can have such superpowers, and it was just a magic and trick of the hand. Later on, actually, Narendra Naik exposed that miracle, and because of that, so-called godman immediately went back to USA. Friends, there is a belief that the earth was created by God. Cosmic bodies were created by God. But as students of science, we know that there are scientific theories to explain the origin of the cosmos, origin of the solar system, including the earth. And we do have evidences to prove that. And usually in religion, people say that next life is important, not this one. Whatever we do, we should do good things so that in the next life we can enjoy. So even if it is a suffering, we should undergo suffering. That's what religion says. But as students of science, we know there is no rebirth and no next life. Whatever the life that we are having, we should put our best effort and lead happy life. Usually in most of the villages, they will have an annual function wherein they will walk on fire. Also, sometimes they take the fire of the camphor on their hand. See, this kind of blind belief is there, and it is they believe that it's because of the power of the god they are able to walk on the fire. But as students of science, we know anybody can walk on fire. Only we will feel that heat or the burn only if there is continuous contact for more than 3 seconds. So that's why rationalists actually conduct certain shows wherein all people can walk on the fire. There is also belief that our ancestors, I mean the forefathers who have died several decades ago, several centuries ago, will come in the form of crow. And we have to offer the food which was very much appreciated by our forefathers. See, giving pinda, that's what they say. Well, friends, as students of science, natural science, you should also know that some of the animals are used for blind belief. If a person actually keeps this turtles, it is said that they become very rich. Unfortunately, some people also export this particular animal without any particular control by the government. We know that there is no truth in this particular belief. Similarly, Vastu Shastra, right? Vastu science. It has become so popular in Karnataka that people will go for getting Vastu clearance. Vastu clearance. Hello. Uh, even they get the advice for the selection of the site. Then they actually pay the fees of 1 lakh to 2 lakh. Only for the selection of the site, then for the construction of the building. And if they are having already constructed building, they will get the advice, if at all if there is a failure in the business and if their children doesn't pass with a good percentage, they consult the Vastu, pay a huge amount, and the Vastu people will just advise to break one wall and put some other kind of structure there, or put certain animals there or plant like that. And probably you might be knowing that Sarala Vastu expert was killed. He was not knowing his own future, but he was used to make crores of rupees by advising Vastu. Well, friends, probably you might be knowing that this is the double-headed snake. This people are under the belief that actually the snake is having two heads, but actually as students of science we know that it's having only the blunt tail and one on the one side and the head on the other region. Actually this is a very non-venomous snake. However, people say that if this double-headed snake weighing around 2 kg is kept in the house, they will get a profit of nearly 2 crores every month. That's a blind belief. So for that, actually, people will go to the villages, ask people to collect this particular sand boa, which should weigh around 2 kgs, offer lakhs of rupees, and this will be sold under black market. Apart from that, probably you might be knowing that we always believe that there are Navagrahas. And depending upon the time of our birth and the movement of these Navagrahas, our future will be decided because of their movement and their place like that. You must have heard of that. But as students of science, we know that there are only 8 planets, not 9. And among the 9 grahas, what they say is sun is a star and moon is a satellite. Okay. However, even the professors of physics or professors or students of science believe in this Navagraha concept and follow blindly. So this is also one example how actually our people will follow the blind belief instead of developing the scientific temper. Coming to the solar and lunar eclipses, we see as students of science and students of astronomy, we know very clearly that it is a natural cosmic event. One particular cosmic body will come in way of other 2 objects and the shadow will fall on one. The people from the other side can see only a part of it and the rest of it will be covered. So we know very clearly how actually the solar eclipse or lunar eclipse will happen, and we know the exact reason. We can also predict when actually it is going to happen and in which part of India to what percentage of eclipse will happen by scientific mathematical calculations. With all this contribution of science of astronomy, still people believe in astrology. And during the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, I have seen people just throwing out all the water they have collected in the house and throwing all the food that was prepared during that time and also stored that time. After the complete emancipation of the solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, people will just washing every utensil, throwing water and then cleaning the entire house. This kind of blind belief is there. In fact, that's why as students of science and students of scientific temper, I have organized observing solar eclipses with safe goggles and also offering food during that time. See, I have taken food. I have seen the total solar eclipse. Almost all eclipses I have seen in my career. Nothing has happened. Nothing bad has happened. So, in fact, I still remember in the Basungudi National College grounds, I was able to observe these total solar eclipse and also share that experience with thousands of people and sharing food at that particular time. Another major weakness of our Indians is to, not only Indians throughout the world, is that we believe in horoscope. Just depending upon the time of the birth, the day of the birth and the year. See, people will come out with a horoscope, see, wherein our entire life history would have been written. They also say that we will have, would have met the accident at a particular age, will marry so many people, will divorce so many people, you will have so many children like that. But we know very clearly that at a particular time, even in the same labor theater, many people will take their birth, and definitely there will not be similarity in their further future. So, and in fact, horoscope, they decide depending upon the position of these grahas, which are actually very unscientific while predicting the very future of a person. In fact, the future of a person can be decided by us. We can decide our future. We have to decide our future. What I am going to be there in another 5 years, and what kind of action plan I have to draft to reach that particular goal, and how to get the knowledge to reach that particular goal. And if at all, if there is a failure, how to learn from the failure, and finally to reach the success, not the horoscope. It has become so popular. Weekly horoscopes will be there in the newspaper, and in fact, in almost all the serials, either in the morning or in the evening, there will be discussion of horoscopes by the so-called Babas, Swamijis. So, with this, let me tell my dear friends, if we develop that scientific temper, we will have certain advantages in this multicultural world, in this fast changing world, in this economic world. People always look for what are the advantages of learning this or imbibing this. So I've just listed certain of the advantages to imbibe, to make this scientific temper as a way of life. First of all, we can live as efficient people in the present society. You must have heard of what we call as infodemic. This is a new word, infodemic. Information, wrong information is there in the media also. It is said that around 70% of the information that is available in the digital world is wrong. It's false. Sometimes it's created just to create a curiosity, just to enjoy. Some people will frame such videos, just develop certain techniques, animations, etc., to fool people. In fact, that's why World Health Organization has formed a circle, an interesting branch to expose this what we call as infodemic. So we should find out which particular information is correct by checking, fact check. Okay, I hope as students you know this. Then we should this scientific temper will also help in making correct decisions and forming evaluations. See, life will have so many options how to take a correct decision, whether it is to be the marriage, whether it is to go and select a particular combination for higher studies, or to select a particular project during our research, or to come up with some business. So to take correct decisions, the steps that are there, the attributes of the scientific temper will help us in taking correct decisions and also forming evaluations. This scientific temper carries both emotional and intellectual tone. See, we can be emotional, we can be sympathetic, we can show empathy, we can support the human beings, the human cause. At the same time, we can also be intellectuals in supporting the reality, the pragmatism. And the scientific temper offers greater responsibilities for the success as well as failure. See, it will provide the responsibility to have success in life, because we would have planned logically, we would have made some survey, understanding, and projected project. Based on that, we can really lead a happy life and success. At the same time, if at all, if there is failure, we can learn from failure. So persistence and perseverance will help. So these are the advantages. Well, some more advantages are there. One can be a great motivator of behavior that affect human values. There's some discussion going on between the firm beliefs of religion and also blind belief versus the people who are having scientific temper. This scientific temper will definitely motivate the very behavior of us. See, we can definitely have that confidence, self-confidence or self-esteem better than those who just believe. Those people who just believe that if we can pray and offer some money or fruits to God, then they will give the so-called bones, and finally one can succeed in life. But as the students of scientific temper, we know When we want to achieve a particular goal, we should have that confidence. We should have that an action plan. We should have that exploration to get the real knowledge like that. Similarly, if we have this scientific temper, we can lead a very peaceful and meaningful living of every person in a multicultural world. This is the most important point. India is a multicultural nation. We have different religions. We have different cultures. We have very richest person. We have very poor persons. Okay, with all this multicultural world, how to lead a peaceful life? See, we know very clearly as students of science, the human being took their origin in Africa. And then because of the migration, we have migrated to all other places. And now we are here in India, right? There is no question of one particular nation or one particular country or one particular town. We are all human beings having the same number of chromosomes, same number of genes. There might be slight variation, especially with regard to the color, etc., etc. But all of us are human beings, irrespective. And our blood, the same type of blood groups are there. The same kind of chromosomes are there, genes are there. So in this multicultural world, multi-religious nation, we should lead a meaningful living. For that, this scientific temper will help. Apart from that, my dear friends, it is very beneficial for the nation's progress. If we want to progress as a nation, one should have a particular plan. Just like for an individual, we should plan for the progress for a nation once in a year or once in 5 years. Actually, 5-year plan was there and now it has been reduced. However, one should have a particular plan and we should plan in a scientific method. What priority should be given? The priority to construct the temples, the priority to construct the roads, the priority to construct the dams. I hope all of you will remember it was Jawaharlal Nehru who said the construction of the dams is the temples of India. He was the one who never visited any temple in his 17 years of prime ministership. He never went to any religious place or religious practice, but yet he laid foundation for the progress of this great democratic nation because he had the scientific temper. So this particular scientific temper will be beneficial in all aspects of economic development, in all aspects of political development, whatever may be the political parties, what are their manifestos, what are their belief systems, how actually they have an action plan or the vision for the entire progress of the nation, how actually they plan to reduce the actual difference in the economic status of the Indians, and what is the social security one has to give. So for all this, actually the scientific temper will help. That's why it is said it is beneficial not only for the nation progress, but also for civilization and the welfare of the entire humankind. Let me end up my presentation by the famous quote of Buddha, Gautam Buddha, right? I just repeat because it is so clear. Do not believe in anything simply because you have heard. Just because we have heard, we should not believe. Do not believe in anything simply because it is spoken and rumored by many. Rumors will be there, especially nowadays. Suddenly there will be some incident and people will blow up because of communal clash, etc., etc., like that. We should not believe in anything simply because it is spoken and rumored by many. Do not believe in anything simply because it is found written in our religious books. Whether it is written in any religious book, we should not believe it simply. Do not believe in anything merely on the authority of your teachers and elders. They may be elders, they may be political leaders, there may be your teachers. Do not believe in their saying unless you check it. Do not believe in traditions that have been handed down for many generations. This belief in horoscope, belief in getting up on the right side, belief in offering the gold chain or money, etc., for the gods, hoping that we will become richer, etc., etc. Do not follow those things. But after observation and analysis, let me repeat, but after observation and analysis, when you find that anything agrees with reason, the most important, reasoning. If you find anything agrees with the reason and is conducive to the good and benefit of one and all for the entire humanity, if it is good and benefit for the entire humanity, then accept it and live up to it. That's the best definition for scientific temper, which is a way of life. My dear friends, sorry for a number of distractions or problems that came up during my presentation. Please refer the literature that have been written by Richard Dawkins, Carl Sagan, Isaac Asimov, or the life biography of Dr. H. Narasimha, or the poems that have been written by Kuempu. I hope you will be in a position to develop scientific temper, have discussion, question all the concepts, all the beliefs, and don't accept anything unless there is evidence, there is some reason. With this, once again, I thank all the organizers, the St. Joseph University, and your teachers. I do remember Dr. George, who was my co-researcher in that lab. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, participants, for joining the meeting. If anyone has any doubts or questions to clarify from sir, please raise your hand or put your questions in the comment section, please.
Any questions?
Somebody has raised the hand. You can unmute and go ahead. BZ27, go ahead asking, sir.
Sir, good evening, sir. I'm Sanjay, sir,
Yes.
from BZ Group.
Tell me.
Sir, how are you handling this scientific, how to say, this beliefs in India are more common, no, sir? It is among Hindus and all the religions, there are so many beliefs. How are you handling yourself, sir, with this problems?
Yeah. It's a good question, my dear friend. Yeah, it's a challenge, but we should go on educating. See, as teacher, we should always link our teaching with scientific temper, because in fact, scientific temper itself is a product of science, is a product of methodology of science. The only thing is we should not become teachers in the classroom, in the lab. We should become teachers outside the lab. We become teachers of scientific temper outside the lab also. So that's why I was telling the example of physics professors who actually explain the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse clearly, but practice all belief at home. That should not take place. In my case, I have been educating, including my family members, my daughter, my son, my wife. It was a challenge in the beginning to educate my family members, but now they know that scientific temper is beneficial, advantageous compared to the complete surrender to the blind belief, surrender to just one supernatural being or the God. So instead of that, they have developed a self-esteem. They always discuss with me any plan in their life. They also think logically what kind of problems may come and then plan their future. Similarly, I am also doing and practicing the same way. Sometimes there will be heated discussions, but we should not become angry, right? We should have patience and perseverance. So by and large, I was able to influence a large number of my students, my colleagues also. In fact, I was the coordinator for Bharat Vignan Jata throughout Karnataka. There was a science troupe who used to do certain skits on science and scientific temper, and that gave the greatest experience and happiness for spreading scientific temper. Let me quote one example. You see, in one particular village of Chitradurga, after explaining a skit on the importance of preventing diarrhea, and preventing the death due to diarrhea, one old woman came and started weeping. She said she lost her only son just last week. because she could not believe in science. Then we went to her house and found out that there was a medical prescription slip mentioning that her son was suffering from appendicitis. And she went to the hospital, and actually the doctors advised for an operation which costed around 4,000 at that time. She could not collect so much of money. Instead of that, when she came back to her village, the person who actually worships the temple, what we call as pujari in Kannada, had a talk with this particular lady, and he advised not to waste 4,000. Instead, he asked for just 500 rupees to arrange for a special worship of the local god. And what he did was, while doing that particular worship, he took that particular moving idol. Okay, and there was the anterior portion which was quite pointed. With that particular point, he asked 4 people to hit at the stomach where the pain was very severe, and suddenly that boy died. He died because there was a bursting of appendix leading to the sudden death. See, then we learned that this kind of continuous education is needed both at the literate level and illiterate level. In fact, of late I am observing more ignorance and belief in the blind belief is more in educated rather than in illiterates. Thank you for the nice question.
Because I was coming across daily, day to day news, so many news are like this. So many are asking if we say anything like regarding this kind of beliefs, means it seems to be like disrespecting the particular religion, or
See,
they think like that we respect that particular religion, like they are
yeah,
thinking like this. So only
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
asking you this.
Yeah, yeah. See, you should not deny their belief, but you have to explain the reason. See, you can say that my view, depending upon
Yes,
the method of science which is verified, which is verifiable, which undergoes self-correction. Okay, this is how things happen. You can take the example of best COVID time. I think people can easily understand. See, at during that COVID pandemic, people there was even the temple in the name of COVID Dhamma. Okay, Plague Amma temple is there in Bangalore. We all know that a disease will have certain symptoms. There is a particular reason and how actually it will infect a person and finally lead to death. We know every detail, and we also know how to prevent it. We can explain how actually the vaccine is formed and how actually this vaccine is effective. Not the worship, not ringing of the bell, not the blow conching. Okay, so then they will understand. It will take time. You see, just shedding our old trusted belief, tested belief, not tested, trusted belief. It takes time, but definitely if they go on interacting and talking, you can influence people. Especially, see, Narendra Nayak has a special method. He will expose all the miracles that have been committed by God man. And also say, for example, prayer. Okay, if you pray, what will happen? He will just demonstrate. I think such events you can arrange getting in touch with Dr. Narendra Naik. Thank you.
So good
thank you, sir.
evening.
Good evening, sir.
I will go next. I have two questions, sir, both of which are connected. The first question is, if I have to be a good scientist with a good scientific temper, is it necessary for me to be an atheist?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Just follow the methods of scientific attitude and scientific temper, both in the lab and outside. I don't think that all scientists are atheists and all atheists are scientists. No, there are social activists who are atheists, and there are rationalists who are atheists, and some rationalists are not atheists. See, let us not question the existence of God and etc. because it's very difficult for them to digest. Okay, let us not do that, but just mention that the science is a self-correcting process. Any concept we need correction, we need evidence, and anytime even the accepted theory can be challenged. I hope you know that at one time people thought that atoms are indivisible. There was Dalton's theory. Later we came to know that atoms are divisible. At one time we believed that the last particle, minute particle, is the atom, but we know today we have bosons, quarks, quanta, etc. Right. So the science is very verifiable and continuous growth, but in religion it is not so. It is not so. These things we have to tell very calmly with all patience. Okay, then only they can understand, digest, and finally accept. Otherwise, they just close their eyes, close their brain, and reject you. Yeah, not only your ideas, even they may reject your friendship also. You must be very careful and slow.
Okay, so coming to my next question, it's a very quick one. Forgive me for being insensitive by asking this, but do you believe in God? Are you an atheist also?
I'm a pragmatist. You can call it an agnostic person. Okay, I do not know, but I respect human beings. I respect animals. I respect plants. I respect this planet Earth to continue as a very sustainable planet for peaceful coexistence.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
CZBT
Any more
64,
questions?
21 CZBT 64 had a question. Can you please go ahead?
Okay, I just wanted to ask that gods performed miracles. Is there any scientific tempo, like scientific reasoning for that, sir?
Whatever the miracles that have been reported, see, at that time, nobody questioned it. Nobody verified it. Okay, it is all there in the document in written form. Okay, but now, if at all, if anybody performs, we can verify. Say, for example, Godmen, the so-called godmen performed several miracles. Even the existing godmen also are performing several miracles. But as students of scientific temper, many have just exposed those miracles. I was telling with regard to the surgery by fingers, right? I was also telling by removing the devil or the god from the body of a person, exorcism, right? So see the past thing, whatever that is there in the document, just you take the example of the formation of the earth. You say, as per many religious script, it was created. Okay, not just created at one point of time. All the animals, plants, etc. were created at once, right? And they continue to exist in the same way, right? But we have seen that animals and plants are undergoing changes. And we also know by the study of fossils that animals and plants are continuously forming in the different periods or epochs, right? And we have evidences from the fossils, right? So therefore, we can make it very clear, make an understanding. Also, mathematical calculations have also been done, whether actually Ramana went in a aeroplane or not. Dr. Balchandra Rao have exposed, who is also a scholar in Sanskrit, by taking out the meaning that is there and also the drawings that somebody did for the so-called Pushpaka Viman, right? So all such things have been denied because they lack evidence. They lack evidence. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, participants. And I would like everyone to fill in the feedback form so that students can receive their certificates. Please, before leaving the meeting, fill in the feedback form. And I would like Dr. Jayashankar sir to give the vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Premvada. Uh, this is time for the vote of thanks. Sir, thank you for accepting our invitation to address our students in the sixth series of the Ignatian lecture series, themed Scientific Temper and Reasoning. Thank you once again, sir, for accepting our invitation.
Thank
It's
you.
a very sensitive topic, at the same time, also igniting the scientific temper. You spoke about the cause and effect. You gave us wonderful illustrations and examples. You substantiated with scientific evidence in the short duration. I'm sure the students are sensitized about these topics and at large on the scientific temper and reasoning. Thank you for patiently answering them, sir, all the queries they had. Uh, so one of the question also tried to ask you about your belief system. You very efficiently substantiated your stand. Thank you, sir. It's motivation like people like you that we still feel not let down when there is so much of strong wind that can go against, but still here is that lamp and that light that is giving hope of scientific temper and reasoning. Please continue to carry your goodwill. We will try to reach out to you again in future whenever needed, sir. Thank you for enlightening these young minds with scientific temper and reasoning. Thank
And
you, sir.
yeah, Dr. Jaishankar, I was really delighted to have this discussion among all the young students of your department, and especially as students of natural science. It's very nice interacting with the youngsters. Actually, we as teachers throughout our life, we should have the connection with the youngsters, their thinking. Sometimes, because of the fast changing world and the explosion of information, beyond the improvement of wisdom in our brain, actually this kind of discussion should go on, and this kind of thinking will expand our horizon, and especially it will give some insight for personal success, societal success, and also for the entire humanity. Thank you very much. I'll be always be happy to associate with this kind of groups. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You rightly put it. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I also take this opportunity to thank the management, the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the Dean, my colleagues in the Department of Zoology, and also all the office bearers of the Natural Science Association, the student coordinators for the Ignatian Lecture Series 6.0, Suraj and Priyamvada, for successfully setting it up and hosting, and all the participants, students from different combination and some from outside the college who have joined this webinar. Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed and got this enlightenment, understanding, or got sensitized about scientific temper and reasoning. Please spread the word and also be inspired to apply whatever sir said. Let there be this continuous process. Whatever odds, you proceed with the reality. Ask questions. Let there be reasoning. With that note, we thank you all for joining this evening the Ignatian Lecture Series 6.0. Watch the series for the next year with a different theme. And also other events that the National Science Association of the UG Department of Zoology and the Zoologia, the PG Department of Zoology are hosting. Uh, Please take note of them, and also don't forget to fill the feedback form. That will also fetch your certificate and attendance. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, as you fill up the certificates, you may leave the meet. As you fill up the feedback form, you may leave the meet. Thank you.